I'm going to start this video off with an analogy. You're walking with your boys and you're the biggest, strongest guy in the hood. You think you're ready for anything. If anyone approaches you, you'll deal with them no problem. They're not as strong as you, as smart as you, or nearly as capable as you. While walking, some skinny guy walks up to you, and you don't assume anything because the guy is weak and scrawny. No way he means trouble. Then, in an instant, he sucker punches you, knocking you to the ground, and books it before your buddies have a chance to pin the guy down. This lesson carries over extremely well to Ultimate with so many wacky viable characters that have insane gimmicks, and with the ledges being so powerful like I talked about in this video, there's not very many clear advantages and disadvantages in terms of your position, and this gets amplified when a character can hit a 0 to death when you throw out a passive button in the ledge trapping phase. In other words, there's a lot of scrawny guys in Smash, and a whole slew of random sucker punches. It's like that little kid on the bike in Breaking Bad, if you know what I'm saying. So how can this lesson be applied to your play? Well, this is where you need to pick your battles a whole lot better. Many of us like to have fun, but also want to be prepared for anything, so we play out every battle and try to win, but that only gets you into knife fights with your fists. I'll give you guys an example. I'm trying to make my ledge trapping better with Pikachu, and I figured out a whole bunch of options and flowcharts to passively pressure the opponent, and I also labbed a few big hits that I can find in between my own pressure. The big problem with that is that Pikachu's best moves are all long-lasting multi-hits, and most characters have ridiculous burst options that punish them on reaction, along with crazy follow-ups or pressure options afterwards. So am I actually pressuring the guy in advantage, or am I playing neutral or even disadvantage? The thing is that I can choose how I want to fight. Instead of trying to Mike Tyson the guy, I can pull out my pistol and safely scrap at him and invalidate his gun because it turns into a risk once it can't hit me all the time, with my T-Jolt being the pistol and the opponent's burst option being the gun. And once the opponent isn't allowed to show gun in rock, paper, scissors, I can now Mike Tyson him sometimes when I know the opponent is conditioned to stop pulling gun. Some degenerates might see you pull a Mike Tyson and try to box them in a pattern they can recognize and try to gun at it. So what you do then is you just keep shooting the pistol and punish the guy over and over again, and once it's completely out of their brain, you can pressure again. It's all about adding an extra layer to interactions, and always being willing to not fight and stay in the place you like to stay in, because the opponent is sure as hell comfortable in their little hideout. I like to add a little more logic to it just so it makes complete sense. The most basic principle in Smash is risk-reward, and when you engage someone in their own game, you make their accuracy higher because that's where they're most comfortable, increasing your risk. And when they know exactly what they're hitting, it increases their reward, while decreasing your reward since you're much more uncomfortable hitting what you want to in their space. Here's a good piece of mental advice to really optimize your game. When you're playing to win, like in a bracket setting, don't play without full confidence. This means that you shouldn't tread in unmarked territory, and you should try to only play where you feel comfortable. If you end up in the unknown, set up some guidelines. If you feel the most in danger of dying, hold shield or just wait it out. The opponent is probably looking for a panic button, and if you're off stage, just wait instead of expelling your jump. And if you're close to the ledge or have a bad recovery, air dodge to the ledge in those panicky moments, unless you're against Falcon. Setting up guidelines only goes so far since it's better to learn every interaction, so I'll get back on track to the original point. Even if you technically have stage advantage, it's a whole lot better to make sure you're safe and comfortable than to interact too much and be uncomfortable. Your brain is probably trying to tell you something based on previous experiences, and trying to use stage control bro logic instead of using your own head probably isn't going to work out. An extreme example of a player who often refuses to even play the ledge trap game is Tweak, as he will often just let you come back so he can play comfortably with his banana. Another good example of a player who does this is Zomba. Even though his options and game sense look a little bit elementary, look at how efficient he is at getting out of there when he doesn't like the spot he's in. And then look at what places he's actually choosing to play in. Every time he touches you, you die, and if he can't do that, he'd rather wait until he can do that instead of playing out niche interactions, which is why he's so efficient at cleaning up those stocks. There's a reason why everyone plays differently in friendlies than in bracket, and it's because to reach peak performance, confidence is everything, while potential and uncertainty are for growth. When someone's uncertain, they're malleable and very prone to attacks. When someone is confident and certain, they have a shell of steel and can slip through the cracks of any enormous squishy beast. But when a small steel shell meets a big steel shell, the small one gets demolished. Moral of the video, keep the soft shell for improvement and the hard shell for bracket. Now enjoy the gameplay that I tacked on for no reason at all.